Now, you threw as a freshman in the baseball team, you threw a no-hitter. That was pretty rare back then, even a freshman playing varsity.
Yes, I did. I was pretty lucky, you know. First of all, I'd like to say first, before we do anything else, not too bad for a kid from South Tucson, because I lived in South Tucson, and, you know, I went to Pueblo High and I never went to college. But yes, I was the first one to throw a no-hitter as a freshman against the Bulldogs. I don't want to say their name, but it was Douglas.
And Douglas was pretty good back then, too. So you get a scholarship. You had probably a bunch of scholarship offers.
Yeah, I had several options, but Art Acosta is here, and he was my behind-the-wheel instructor, and so he talked my ear off about Stanford when I was a junior and trying to decide. So I credit him with help sending me towards Stanford. Plus, how can you turn down Stanford? So.
And you led Stanford to their first College World Series in 2001.
Yeah.
So
we had Jess Mendoza on our team, who's probably the best softball player in the world, so that helps too.
Okay, now it's interesting. You took, when you went from Michigan to Arizona, you took Larry Smith, John McElvick, and Mike Hankowitz with you.
Yes, and Bob Backraft was another individual that came. So we had two things. I think we had a great staff, and then we had some players. Bruce Hill, T. Bell, Mike Dawson, Brian Murray, who was from here. We had some great players that helped us be successful.
So it's in there, after you were inducted into the San Rita Hall of Fame upon graduation, they gave you the diploma, and that was it, huh?
Well, Mike McKinney, you know, he was also a wrestler back in the day, and when I won 3 state championships and went undefeated, and also earned a scholarship to college, he made sure that that I was inducted to the Hall of Fame. And one other little thing is, I never wrestled till I got to high school. Never seen a wrestling mat, and so what I thought wrestling truly was WWE. So my first time coming to practice, just a quick funny story. I had a guy that challenged me and to come to work out in wrestling, and I'm thinking WWE. I never wrestled before. So I show up, and you know, he's in the headgear and the knee pads, he's looking all dorky, and I'm thinking WWE the whole time. So I take this kid down, he's a little bit bigger than me, and I jump on his back. My favorite wrestler back in the day was the Iron Sheik. I'm serious about this, and so I got on his back, grabbed his arms, and started to do the Iron Sheik to him. Coach pulls me off of him, says, "You can't do that in here. You know, this is wrestling, another type of wrestling." I was like, "Well, only wrestling I know is what I see on TV." So he showed me some things, and you know, from there he actually convinced my mother to let me wrestle because she didn't want me to wrestle. He came over and talked to my mom, and they had a little discussion, and I got to wrestle in college. I got to wrestle in high school, so I got to go to college.
So let's talk about, you're playing West Phoenix High School. 14 seconds left in the game. Were you the quarterback?
No, I was a tailback.
Okay. So 40 seconds left in the game. You're at your own 15-yard line. I thought they'd be passing the ball. You ran 85 yards.
Yeah. We won the ball game the last 14 seconds.
So now you got a scholarship at Michigan State, and there were some other guys in that kind of time frame that went back to Michigan State too.
Yeah, we got Bill Dawson over there. In fact, I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was one of the best football games I've ever seen, where Notre Dame was ready to score, and Bill Dawson stopped them twice there at the 8-yard line, I think it was.
So there's like a connection then from Michigan State to Tucson.
We got him down there.
Yeah, we have. Everyone in the soccer community knows when it's shootout time because all their games are canceled. All the referees are working for us. And for those of you who are not in the soccer community, it's the time you don't drive down Craycroft.
You know, you notice when a 4-loss shootout weekend is, it's jammed.
Yeah.
And all the restaurants are jammed too.
Yep. We bring in anywhere from $2 to $4 million into the economy through our hotels, through the restaurants, through anything and everything that you can imagine a whole soccer team needs that weekend.
So how many soccer fields? Do you know how many soccer fields you actually use?
You know, I think we're probably right around 30 to 35. Pretty much every field that the city has and any one we can get from TUSD we use. So Fort Lowell, Jacobs Field, we just started using Keno Fields. So it's pretty much if there's a soccer field that's open, we're going to use it.
I guess you started out as a defensive player.
Yeah, I always grew up as a defensive player, and I really didn't like the idea of playing offensive line. Not at all. And I came back from spring break. So I guess never leave town because they'll make changes. I come back from spring break and they tell me I'm going to be moved to the offensive line. I think I spent the next day crying. I didn't want to have anything to do with offensive linemen.
So a tough adjustment to make.
It was really tough. I was moved to the offensive line because I was slow, uncoordinated, and weak, which is the trifecta of failure.
And the anti-decathlon.
Right, the anti-decathlon, very clearly. And I had some great coaching, and they were patient with me, and I got to learn and grow, and it took a long time for me to start gaining weight, but once I started gaining weight, I got faster and more agile, and I came to not despise the position.
So he goes there, and then you're there for a few years, and then now Jim brings you, Larry, out to Tucson.
Right, Jim gets the head job, and he offered Larry the defensive coordinator's job. And so Larry said, I'm going, because he was coaching offensive line at Michigan. And Bo was furious and said, why, You would never get a head job. Yeah. He told Larry, first of all, why would you ever leave Michigan when we've just, gone to the Rose Bowl twice and really successful program to go to a WAC school. And you'll never have an opportunity to be a head coach if you leave Michigan. And Larry said, I need to do this. I want to be a coordinator and expand my repertoire a little bit. So Bo did comment years later that I guess I was wrong.
And Conquistador do a lot of other things in the community too.
We do. What's neat about the way we give our money away, we give our money away monthly. So it's not like we have the golf tournament and then we write a big check to one charity. So last year we probably gave to over 100 charities, and just this last month I think we wrote checks for about just $70,000 just in 1 month for everything from Special Olympics to there's a lot of softball going on right now and helping kids with travel money to go to softball tournaments. So we're giving money to groups that don't have big development directors or ways to raise money or board of directors. So it's we do everything from small grassroots things to a lot of bricks and mortar.
You still play golf?
I do, not often enough, I'll tell you. I was down in Tubac though for a retreat last weekend, and I saw Dr. Ed down there. He had a group from Rolling Hills, and they were having a little retreat at Tubac. And I hope that when I'm 90-some, like Dr. Ed Updegraff, I'm still playing the game, because it's a great game. And I had the honor of playing with Bobby Gaona. I don't know, when was that, Bobby? 6 months or so ago in a tournament, and we had a hell of a good time.
Congratulations, you do a lot in the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
San Rita High School in 1988, 1993, football, basketball, baseball. He was quite an all-around athlete, but an outstanding quarterback too.
Yes, he did. He was a high school quarterback, played a lot of quarterback in Pop Warner, and so he was a real guy. He loved the quarterback position.
But he was all-state, all-state, baseball and football. He was a parade All-American in football.
Yes, he was.
So were you thinking when he was he thinking of getting drafted, or was he thinking about going to college playing football?
Well, he was kind of torn because he loved football and he also loved baseball. And he actually was recruited by the U of A for football and baseball. Dick Tomey and Jerry Kendall at the time. So it was kind of a rough time. He couldn't figure out, if he would play football or baseball, or if they would even let him. Because back then they kind of didn't want you to, if you were playing football, they didn't want you to play two different sports. So the coaches had to get together and say that they would allow him to actually play both sports. But then he ended up getting drafted by the Blue Jays out of high school anyway, so he ended up going to baseball.
You were at ASU the 3-time team captain. Other guys on the team thought highly of you.
Well, I wouldn't say that. we were all just, having fun up there. And, if they listened to me if I did something or said something that helped them out, that's all better. But we learned from each other.
Now, why did you decide to go to ASU?
Is this a loaded question? First, I want to say, before I forget, Santa Rita is well represented today.
Yes, they are.
Yes. We have 3 people being inducted, and I think that's pretty cool. What's your question? Why did I go to ASU? No, I'm just kidding. ASU, well, they had the kind of squad I was looking for personnel-wise. It wasn't like a loyalty thing, you know, like I chose the Sun Devils over U of A or anything like that. Actually, they had a really good coach here, Willie Williams at the time. And I think Dave Murray was an assistant, and Dave Murray was the head coach here for years and years and years. Now Fred Harvey's at U of A. But no, ASU had some people, Herman Frazier, Olympian, gold medal 4x4, and bronze medal in the 400 meters at Montreal. But they just had a nice team, and I chose wisely because my freshman year we won the NCAA championships. So that's why I went to ASU.
And you had to do with that too.
I guess you would say so. Well, I was kind of like a linchpin. I mean, I was a young kid. I mean, I was 18 years old, running around, you know, trying to keep up with the big boys, and show them that I could carry some weight too, right? And we ended up going to the NCAA championships, and I placed 3rd or 4th in the long jump unexpectedly. And come to find out, nobody else on the team expected me to place that high either. And when I did, everybody kind of got excited, you know. And back in those days, you had a lot of foreigners. I mean, we were competing against 29-year-old guys from Germany and Africa and wherever in the world would come to America to go to college. We were competing against, you know, older people. But we were an all-American team, and we won a trophy, and it was great.
I got to play with some of the big guys.
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite an experience. I remember the one year that we were paired with Jack Nicklaus. And anyhow, my son says, "Hey Dad," he says, "I'm nervous." "Why are you nervous?" "Well, we're going to play with Jack. We've got to pair with Jack." So I said, "He puts his pants on like I do." I said, "You know, why worry about that? He's just another guy." So I didn't want to say that I'm nervous too, you know. So anyhow, by pretending that not being nervous and all that, I got through it.